Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malladu TV, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today is a very, very interesting topic. And the topic is investment opportunities for women. But before I will go on this topic, I would like to inform you that today the world is celebrating World Earth Day. Earth Day is an annual event on April 22nd to demonstrate support for environmental protection. First held on April 22nd, 1970, it now includes a wide range of events coordinated globally by earthday.org, including 1 billion people in more than 193 countries. In 1969, at a UNESCO conference in San Francisco, peace activist John McNall proposed a day to honor the earth and the concept of peace to first be observed on March 21st, 1970, the first day of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. This day of nature's equipoise was later sanctioned in a proclamation written by McNall and signed by Secretary General U Thant at the United Nations. A month later, a United States Senator Gaylord Nelson proposed the idea to hold a nationwide environmental teach-in on April 22nd, 1970. Media conference with Lal Goel hopes that by observing this day, more and more awareness will be created for environmental protection. Now coming to our main topic, that is investment opportunities for women. To invest is to allocate money in the expectation of some benefit or return in the future. In other words, to invest means owning an asset or an item with the goal of generating income from the investment or the appreciation of your investment, which is an increase in the value of the asset over a period of time. When you invest, it always requires a sacrifice of some present asset that you own today, such as time, money, or effort. In finance, the benefit from an investing is when you receive a return on your investment. The return may consist of a gain or a loss realized from the sale of a property or an investment, unrealized capital appreciation or depreciation, or investment income such as dividends, interest, rental income, etc., or a combination of capital gain and income. The return may also include currency gains or losses due to changes in the foreign currency exchange rates. Investors generally expect higher returns from riskier investments. When a low-risk investment is made, the return is also generally low. Similarly, high risk comes with high returns. Investors, particularly novices, are often advised to adopt a particular investment strategy and diversify their portfolio. Diversification has the statistical effect of reducing overall risk. An investor may bear a risk of loss of some or all of their capital invested. Investment differs from arbitrage, in which profit is generated without investing capital or bearing risk. Savings bear the risk that the financial provider may default. Foreign currency savings also bear foreign exchange risk. If the currency of a saving account differs from the account holder's home currency, then there is the risk that the exchange rate between the two currencies will move unfavorably so that the value of the savings account decreases, measured in the account holder's home currency. Even investing in tangible assets like property has its risk. And just like with most risk, property buyers can seek to mitigate any potential risk by taking out mortgage insurance and by borrowing at a lower loan to security ratio. In contrast with savings, investments tend to carry more risk in the form of both a wider variety of risk factors and a greater level of uncertainty. Amsterdam Stock Exchange is considered to be the world's oldest stock exchange. Established in 1602, that is 1602, by Dutch East India Company, the company issued the first shares on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. In the early 1900s, purchasers of stocks, bonds, and other securities were described in media, academia, and commerce as speculators. Since the Wall Street crash of 1929 and particularly by the 1950s, the term investment had come to denote the more conservative end of the securities spectrum, while speculation was applied by financial brokers and their advertising agencies to higher risk securities, much in vogue at that time. Since the last half of the 20th century, the terms speculation and speculator have specifically referred to higher risk ventures. In today's world, it is very important for women to be able to achieve a sense of financial equality and independence. Along with pursuing high powered careers and becoming an integral part of a workforce, one must give a thought of becoming financially secure for the long term. And this thought can be worked upon by making right investment. In India, there are several investment options and plans that offer long term benefits to women investors. However, one must know how and where to invest their hard earned money. Some investment options, such as mutual funds or stocks, help in creating and increasing liquid cash reserves, whereas fixed deposits in a bank, employee provident fund, EPF, and public provident fund, PPF, save your money for the long term and draw interest over the years. Furthermore, there are several investment options that can also be used for generating monthly income by by earning interest on the principal amount. Apart from this, investing in fixed or immovable asset adds financial security over the years. Top 10 investment options for Indian women as per experts: Public Provident Fund, Employees Provident Fund, Kisan Vikas Patra, National Savings Certificate, Post Office Time Deposit Scheme, Post Office Monthly Income Scheme, Bank Fixed Deposits, Mutual Funds, Real Estate, and last but not the least and most favorite for all the women on the earth is gold. Now, to discuss this very, very important topic today, interesting topic, I must say, the investment opportunities for women, we have a very elite, knowledgeable, those who are in this field and they know ins and outs about the investment and where to invest and how to invest and their after effects also. That panelists are with us. I would like to invite my first panelist, and he's Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand is a senior psychiatrist and marriage counselor. Dr. Rajiv Anand passed his MBBS in 1976 and did MD in psychiatry in 1980 from King George's Medical College, Lucknow. He opted to serve his country when it was very common to settle abroad for a brighter future. He has been serving society with his base in Mumbai. He has clients all over India as well as in many other countries. He was honored with Lifetime Achievement Award by AMA. He has conducted more than 3,000 workshops for different groups and companies with audience size of 10 to 800. His television program on various channels have been widely appreciated for his forthright and practical approach. He is leading in the field of mental and emotional well-being for 40 years. He was president of IMA for 2 times. He was interviewed in several talk shows in domestic and internationally. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand, you are a leading psychiatrist as well as a marriage counselor. You might be getting lots of, I will not term patients, lots of your clients or those who wants your help for their well-being, mental well-being. Now, when we talk about the women, you know, it's a very complex subject. And when we are talking about the investment by women, I think it's more complex. Now, your experience, because you are dealing with them before investment, how excited a woman, after investment, and after gaining profit or losing the money, I am sure it affects the mental well-being of the woman as well as of the husband. So we would like to know from you your views about the investment opportunities
Sure, sir.
by women. Yes, Dr. Rajivanan, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lal. Good morning to my fellow panelists, Purva and Anuj Jain and Shobha, not Shobha,
Radhika.
Radhika Pai from Bangalore. All of you are welcome. I genuinely appreciate Mr. Lal's untiring efforts over the last 14 months. Every day, a new topic, every day, a new concept. And we have been sharing with plenty of panelists across to all the four states, Kerala viewers, Karnataka viewers, Bihar, UP viewers, through global TV to viewers across other countries too, and YouTube and whatnot, Facebook Live. It's not a small effort. It needs a lot of logistics support, and hats off to you, Mr. Lal. Now, let me give it a few disclaimers. Today's program may appear to be as if sponsored by some stockbroker or by mutual fund operators who are enticing the potential clients that to join us, and we would help you open an account and we would guide you where and what to do. Certainly not. When I mooted this topic and I proposed to Mr. Lal, who kindly consented to take this topic, investment opportunities for women, and it appeared in beginning that as if we are going to do that. Certainly not. The aim is not to push any particular Motilal Oswal or mutual fund operator or anyone for that matter. No. In fact, I am really genuinely surprised at some wisdom, innate wisdom in our society, which we have for long neglected it. And how this topic came to my mind. Investment word had been in circulation or in vogue for last probably 3 decades or 4 decades. When the stock market became active somewhere in early 90s or maybe in mid 80s. The word which was already prevalent and already being used, not being spoken as much was being used, was saving. Now, investment we expect हम 100 रुपए लगाएं तो हमको 300 रुपए की कमाई हो जाए. हम 100 रुपए लगाएं तो हमको 500 रुपए मिल जाए. That's as every one of us know that that's gamble, that's speculative. More people lose about their money. And Mr. Lal asked me a pertinent question. Since I, being in the profession of psychiatry, come across large number of men, yes, I'm emphasizing this word, large number of men who thought they were investing, but they became pauper because of wrong advices or because of wrong or other misadventures. Now, when we talk about women, I have no hesitation in saying most men do not believe that their wife at home have inherent, inborn, genetically loaded tendency not to use the word invest, but saving. And now this thought came to my mind. Recently, I met a lady who is in her own late 60s. And when she mentioned to me that her mother, obviously she's not anymore, who had 4 daughters. And this 69-year-old lady was telling her mother who had 4 daughters. And she got all the 4 daughters married off comfortably, giving them enough gold at each of the marriage. And how she could manage it, she has kardani, weighing around 1.5 kg. Kardani, I'm sure everybody knows about, which is tied around the waist and made of gold. So she had more than a kg of the gold, and out of which she could cut, and she could give it to all the daughters and could make their necklaces and whatnot and various sets. And that impressed me. That people of even that era, when the income in the cash was not as much as today it is, did have an innate sense of saving and parking the money away for the future. The word saving, I'm emphasizing here, is closer to the women because had they not been there, which unfortunately certain section of society do not value them as much as is required. Had they not been there, society would not have grown that far. Animals don't have that gender basis except the reproduction. Only human beings do have a privilege of recognizing women and their talent and their skills, which most men do not. Maybe for certain section of time, I also might have neglected, and I must have paid the price for it. till I realized it, the how much saving by the woman can help you in various responsibilities, meeting various responsibility. So I'm coming to this point that women do have great skill to save money for the rainy day. Rainy day is again a different term used for case of emergency, but various responsibilities like marriages of the children. And the saving can be done out of regular expenditure, can be put apart, and can make substantial volume of money. Now, when we talk about investment, we always talk about stocks and mutual fund and gold and property. Fair enough, that's right for the man's word. And as we know, most men do misadventure, miscalculation, and they jump into a valley and they ruin themselves. Women never ruin themselves. Rarely ever we would come across any woman who would have undergone depression because of misplaced saving. I do know a couple of women who are also slowly coming into investment in shares and mutual fund, and they're very wise. They're very wise. Many of them, I'm in touch with them, and they give advice about what to do, what not to do. And they have an intuitive sense about where to put the money. So we insist, we, the man of the society, are greatly privileged that they have something special skill, intuition, to save, not squander out of it, not speculate, not gamble, but save for long term. I regret myself if in the beginning of my career I had saved or I had listened to my wife's advice. I am first a human being, then a doctor, then a psychiatrist. Had I listened to my wife's advice of saving even 500 rupees per month in mutual fund, which I could have easily done, even 5,000 rupees per month, I could have easily done, then today I would have a substantial corpus. I would have been sitting on it, which that time I did not. And most men do not, because they think the finance is not the matter of women. The man knows more about it, which is unfortunate. So back to the main topic of investment opportunities for women. Every day there is an opportunity. Let men feel privileged and feel complimented by women's innate wisdom of saving money in time, maybe for children's marriage, maybe for the senior citizen time when you have less inflow, you have more requirement to sustain yourself the last 20 years of life. So I would look forward more to listen to Purva and Radhika and Anu, who are expert in this matter about where it can save. The bigger saving, fair enough. That's different topic. Investment in stocks and mutual fund and other things are other different topics. Yes, Mr. Lal pointed out to me, and let me give a comment in 1 minute. I have come across good number of people who wanted to ride the tide and make huge sum very quickly, and they lost out whatever they had. And such people are in huge number all over the globe, more so in our country. When people think the share market is something which is a lottery, आप 1000 रुपए का टिकट लेंगे आपको 1 लाख का पैक मिल जाएगा, भाई सबको नहीं मिलेगा. Many wives also advise them to don't do that, but they don't listen to the wife. They feel, no, my friend got it, I got it. So, but saving wisdom by the woman is a great help to all the men. Society or the families have survived. We could get off our children married, and even for the matter, not me alone, and of course me too, because of wife's saving habit. So let's get back to the main topic. Looking forward to hear to all three great ladies.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand. And Dr. Rajiv Anand says that the women are more wiser than men, especially when the savings or the investment comes. I will just, in a lighter vein, I can just mention that when I send the flyer of this program, few have commented that in 2016, when our Honorable Prime Minister came out with that demonetization, the cash of the women came out in the public domain, means the husband's domain. And now they says after 5 years, you are coming out with this program and you want that whatsoever the savings are there, which they might have hidden, or they will try to take from us, and you want that to be invested. So why you are doing like this? At least you should have not done what our Honorable Prime Minister has done. That is sufficient. And they are very happy. Men are very happy because they came to know how much savings they got, that the wife has got at that time, because the money has come to them. But now, coming to the point which Dr. Anand has made is a very, very important point. And what he says is, the man always try to ride on the wave and he speculate, while a woman never want to speculate. Her main aim is to save. And that is a tendency from the very beginning of a girl or a woman. Now, thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand, for giving such a wiser note in the opening time, on opening remark. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist, and she's Miss Radhika Pai. Miss Radhika Pai is an ex-banker and now head of Vidya Shilp Community Trust, Bangalore. She is a Reiki and crystal healer. She is keen and curious to learn, hence unlearning to learn constantly. Welcome, Miss Radhika Pai, on our show. Miss Radhika Pai, Dr. Rajiv Anand has already given compliments to all the women across the globe. Now, and I can't add anything, but you have heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand has said. Now, we would like to know from you the investment opportunities for women, and especially when you are an ex-banker and you have seen how the banking works, and especially the men, whether they are more prone for the savings in the bank or the women. That expert opinions from you. So, Miss Radhika Pai, please.
I would rather say expert opinion is not because I'm an ex-banker, but more because I've grown old now, grown old and grown wiser. And like Doctor said right now, that women are much more smarter. I agree, 100%. No doubt about that. Now, coming down to what I have to say, Mr. Goel, is that, I got married at the age of 20. And by then, I had seen enough in my own mother's house. So lack of saving was one thing I noticed, that my parents struggled when my father had to change his jobs. So I've seen what it is when you don't save money. That was a practical lesson. When I got married and I came to Dubai, luckily my husband also is equally, should I say, careful with money. So we both were on the same boat. And I always have believed in this, that you should first segregate your needs from your wants. पहले क्या चाहिए आपको? First you find that out. Make a budget. Okay, so like electricity bill, your rent, these are things which you can't do anything about. You have to pay them. So we used to sit down and make one small little budget. Till date, I'm 60 now, we still follow a budget. I think it's adat se majboor we are doing it. But then it's always held us in good stead. So we had my husband's mother living with us, and she used to give us very good advice as well. And she used to tell us, save for tomorrow. You never know what's going to happen. So we used to always have this, save for the rainy day. Now my children tease me. They say, Mama, for who? Which rainy day are you still saving for? Ab to itna barish ho raha hai tere. Yeah, so nikal tere paise kharch kar. But nahi hota hai. So coming down to what I have to say is, I've always believed that you have to have this wants and needs ka list. Once you complete your wants, if you still have got your needs, once you've completed your needs and still you have a surplus money, then in that, just 2% of that would go to the wants. My husband and I would do one thing. We used to tell ourselves that we will save every month an X amount. So it used to be, both our earnings used to be like, the compounded thing of that. We used to only spend about 30% of our earning. And we used to learn to save the 70% off. I used to tell him, don't keep the money here in Dubai, send it off to India. So हम लोग वो saving का तब से कर रहे थे. Another thing what I felt was, I never wanted to go and ask anyone for help, financial help, because I've seen how it is, how people turn their face when you are in dire states. I told my husband, never will we do this. We will always do this and give, but we will never do this. So that was another one thing which was there in my mind. So we've always worked on a budget, and touch wood, it's worked well for us. Another thing what we did was, we didn't invest only in deposits. Although my husband always says cash is king, but we've invested a little in real estate, a little in mutual funds, a little in bonds, a little in shares. So it's like split everything. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So at least you've got something to fall back upon. Touch wood, because we did what we did, today we are in a comfortable position. Children are all settled. We ensure that the children's education is completed with our salaries itself. We didn't touch our savings. Whatever we had to buy. Another tip I can tell you all is, we never, till date, we don't have credit cards. I don't believe in this credit card thing. Yeah, true. People say that you get a lot of benefits and all that. Whatever, I don't want to do that. I don't want to fall into that trap. Paise hai, to le lo. That's we've continued doing it till date. We've always paid cash and bought everything that we have, be it a house, be it a car, and we tell ourselves, "Agar wo chahiye humko, to we will now start saving for it." That is much more better. You get a good night's sleep. I don't owe anybody anything. Kal main ludak bhi jaun, to no problem. I don't owe anyone anything. Nobody will come banging on my door and ask my children to repay. This is what I feel is a better way of living, debt free, happy, content with what you have. So we talk about contentment. We talk about mental peace. This mental peace is always disturbed when you're comparing yourself with somebody else. When someone else has got an X thing, you want that. And that's why you fall into that trap of wanting more. Having said that, it's not like we've not tried. I've also tried to put money in. I've also bought raffle tickets. I've also bought, but never alone. It's always with 3-4 people, because fayda hai, to we'll share it. Nuksan hai, to bhi we will share it. So that was my attitude. And I should say this, it's always held us good stead. I used to believe in gold, investing in gold. So, and my thing was not jewelry per se. It used to just be coins, or it used to be biscuits, the gold biscuits. But to bring them back to India, don't ask me. That was another totally different thing. But today, because we did what we did, I think we're in a better position. So my advice to all the youngsters here is that jitna chadar hai, utna hi pair phailao, And this is again coming from a person who's gone through life, who's seen everything, and who now today is in a better position because of what we did. We didn't know about medical insurance back then, so we had to spend a lot of money on my mother-in-law's medical, on the hospital bills. We learned from that mistake. Then we went and got ourselves medical insurances. So today I feel the need of the hour is to have a medical insurance and to ensure that you're covered, and then keep an X amount of money. Don't depend on your children. Let them be on their own. Educate them, but not to such an extent that you don't have a single pie and, you're doing everything for them. That way I'm a selfish person. I've first seen for ourselves, our old age, बच्चों के साथ साथ सबकी शादियां करवा दी, but again, budget में रह के. So I end my small little 2-bit of information with this. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you very much, Ms. Radhika Pai, for giving your advice to the young generation. And what Ms. Pai has said, 2-3 points very important. One point, she says that try to spend the money what you have. She even says that although she worked in bank, but she says that she has never taken any credit card. It means that you will not be lured away, because if you have a credit card in your pocket, you would like to buy something which is beyond your budget, but you know that credit card will take next month, the bill will come, then we will see. And then the next month never ends. And second point, she says that one must try to invest, save the money and invest in those things where it will be useful in future. And she says that she has done it in the gold, although they were in Dubai, so they were allowed to purchase the biscuits, etc., which she has mentioned. But in India, it's not allowed. So I will not ask how you got those biscuits in India, but that is a separate thing. But one more thing which she says is a medical insurance. That is very much required. And because of today's time, even in the COVID or earlier also, if you are covered with a medical insurance, at least you will not have any problem and mental pressure anytime. And one more advice which she has given is that see to it that you should not give everything to your children. You must keep something for you, for your old age. Give one portion, spend one portion on their education, marriage. Although she said marriage, I disagree. I think the marriage is such a thing that children should spend on that, not the parents. And only the education should be the liability of the parents. But what she says is that that is your responsibility, that let the children will earn their own money. And you should save for yourself, invest in such a thing where you will not lose. Although she says she has invested in raffles and other things, but it was also within sharing with others. So profit and loss can be shared. Thank you very much, Ms. Radhika Pai, for giving your advice, expert advice, I must say here, especially for the youngsters, and especially from ex-banker and experienced, and a lady who has seen the life from all the sides. Thank you very much, Ms. Radhika Pai. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Miss Anu Jain. Ms. Anu Jain is the senior partner and head of equity brokerage of IIFL Wealth Management Limited, Mumbai. Ms. Anu heads the equity brokerage team and is responsible for generating stock ideas and equity strategies for clients. Ms. Anu combines fundamentals and technicals to formulate strategies to create portfolios based on various quant algorithms for clients. She has varied experience of close to 2 decades in the Indian stock market. Before joining IIFL Wealth, she was working with DSP Merrill Lynch's Wealth Management Desk as equity advisor. Earlier at Dujon Investment, she headed the investment desk and actively managed large portfolios. She started her career with SSKI as a strategic portfolio advisor. She regularly features on CNBC TV 18, Bloomberg, and other business channels. She has an MBA in finance from Simsri with a specialization in technical analysis of the Indian stock market. Welcome, Ms. Anu Jain, on our show. Ms. Anu Jain, you have heard Dr. Rajiv Anand as well as Ms. Radhika Pai and their views on the about in general, because they both have given the views, the general views about how the women are better than men as per the Dr. Anand. And Ms. Radhika Pai gave her own experiences, what a woman or a lady should do so that the old age will not be having any problem. Now you are involved, you are creating the wealth, you are rather doing the strategic things, planning, and you are also using the technology along with your calculations, your past experience or statistics. So statistics along with the technology, when you are using all these things, definitely, like a proverb says, horse's mouth. So definitely we would like to know from you the investment opportunities for women. Miss Anu Jain, please.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It was a pleasure to participate, and I've learned from the first two speakers. So to start with, what I would like to kind of reiterate is what Dr. Anand and both of them said is the power of compounding. The power of compounding is that even if there is 8% return, your money kind of doubles in about 7 years. And to double your money otherwise is something which is very difficult. Coming from the investment field, my whole point is, yes, the first part is saving. If you do not save, there is no potentiality to invest. Having taken that point and noted that point, what do you do and where do you invest the money? And a modern woman of today, whether she is a homemaker, whether she is employed elsewhere, or she's self-employed, how does she use this opportunity of the amount that is saved to get the maximum out of it? There are various opportunities, and today, being the modern digital world, it's become very easy to kind of update oneself. And my whole take is that even a homemaker who has even 1 hour after all the chores that she's done for the house, the first and foremost thing is to be educated about what are the opportunities. Because when I speak to clients and client wives, and they may be very wealthy people, but the knowledge about the market is very limited. And I'm not talking about the stock markets, because it is a very limited understanding that investment is about the stock market. You have today a gamut of investment opportunities which are available. A lot of them, especially when people want to be very safe, just go and put the money in the bank or term deposit. But you have concepts like bonds, you have concepts like InvITs, you have concepts like REITs, which give you 10 to 12% against a bank rate of interest of 4 to 6%. And that's available in India with minimal risk. Obviously, as it's been reiterated before me, that risk and return is inversely related. The higher risk you take, the more returns, but they are obviously risky returns. But even on the debt side, so let's just see what are the opportunities. There is debt, there is real estate, there is equity, and there is gold and other commodities. And let's go into, in a very short period of 10 minutes, I'll see what I can cover. So in debt, as I said, apart from just doing EPF, PPF, and with the bank deposits, you can obviously look at bonds, and the bond market is getting more and more vibrant. And most of the bonds are now listing on the National Stock Exchange as well. So you can, like you buy a stock, buy a bond, and sell a bond. That's one. On the InvIT side, now these are, I don't know if you've heard of the government disinvesting. A lot of the PSUs are also coming up, like Power Grid is just coming up with an InvIT. You have some private enterprises also which are rolled, like IRB. You've got some of these which are running utilities for India, which come with about an 8 to 9% kind of a return, annualized products, where the risk is very limited because these are established businesses. These are a potential. Then you have obviously real estate, which I am not going to speak much about. Commodities, it could be gold, silver. Now you can do any commodity on the exchanges, but those are more speculative. On the equity side also, since that's my forte, people just assume that buying stocks and selling stocks, and that is a highly risky composition, or you need a high level of interest. But I would say there are safer ways. You have something called the ETFs, which is the exchange traded funds. So if the Nifty on an average, if you see over the last 15 years, gives the return of about 13 to 14%. There are years it will be negative, there will be years it will be 40%. But on an average for a 10-year rolling period, you will get about 12 to 13%. If you just want the return and don't want to take a risk, buying an exchange traded fund, and there are many of them, is the safest way. You obviously have PMSs, AIFs, mutual funds, which are with varying degrees of risk, but these are some things which can be taken into account. So this is broadly, I've covered what is it. How does a lady start is my question, because this is a question where I am questioned quite often. How do I start? The best thing to do is start a paper portfolio. अगर आपको आज शुरू करना है और आपके पास एक X amount है, and you're learning and you want to kind of start, I would say give yourself 6 months to educate yourself. Start reading up. In today's world, there is YouTube, there is Money Control, there is ET Now. Every news channel has a portal. There are the basic YouTube has everyday views on every sector, the newspapers, magazines. Give yourself a time bound period to educate yourself on it. Start running a paper portfolio from day one. So if you have, say, ₹1,00,000, how would you distribute the ₹1,00,000 between the various asset classes? And within the asset classes, take a call. Because here you can take the riskiest best. You can run two portfolios to see, if I took a X amount of risk, what did I do? If I took a Y amount of risk, this is how I did. And believe me, that is the biggest confidence generating, exercise. And I've done this personally. So while I came from a family where equity investment, at least in my in-laws, was very taken, I took baby steps to it by starting a portfolio on paper. And when I got that confidence, it took me the next stage and the next stage. And so I think for women, confidence is the one thing in investment that they really need. And that will only come when you A, educate yourself, and B, if you kind of do the actual steps of going on to building your portfolio. In terms of what I was hearing the first two speakers, that women are essentially not risk takers, I think there I beg to differ a bit. As the generation has changed, I see more women ready to take higher risk because they are earning, because they have that ability to take risk. So what we've seen in the past was a generation where women deferred to men for decision making. As that period is changing, you're seeing the risk abilities change. And though I don't want more people coming to Dr. Rajiv Anand saying that I've lost money from the women's side, but I would mentally be prepared, because if I see what happens on my desk and the kind of risk women take, I think times are changing for sure. And I think the only way to address that is more mass education. And if we start treating our girl child and start giving her money to invest at the age of 14 and 15, and I've seen a lot of families now starting to do that, that at the age of 15, the child is given an X amount to first jointly manage from 15 to 18. And then from 18 to 21, they're given slightly small monies to invest on their own. And 21 onwards, they kind of manage it on their own. And Mr. Goel, I completely agree with you. We are not, I would only educate my child. The marriage is definitely not my responsibility. Once the children are married, no expense of theirs is my responsibility. So that's my 2 bits on it. Happy to answer any questions. I've rushed through this because can go into depth on any of the particular queries or asset classes as needed.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Anu Jain. At least someone is agreeing with me about the marriage expenses, why the parents should spend the money. That's good. But what she says, she has made very, very important point, and she says that it's a myth now, or time has changed, that the women are not a good investors or not a risk takers. According to her, now they are taking risk, they are investing money, unlike earlier time. And she also mentioned there are lots of avenues to invest money, not only the stock exchange. There are bonds, there are debts market, many things are there where one can invest the money in the safe companies or the government bonds, etc., where they are sure that the money will they may get about 10 to 12% rate of interest. Otherwise, if they are playing safe, then they have other options which she has named about that, like fixed deposits or the PPF, etc. But she says that the civil society, or we have to start uh, giving this training to a girl child from the very beginning. And she says nowadays she has seen, as per own experience, many families are allowing their 15 years old girl to start investing initially in a joint decision, and gradually they're independent. So this is her views, and she says that it's a very good thing that in one way she means that's like a women empowerment. Once you are investing the money, the women is investing money and they are taking the risk. Thank you very much, Ms. Anu Jain, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Miss Purvi Manish Dalal. Ms. Dalal is MCom MBA Finance. She is an investment consultant at Strategies Prime Wealth Surat with 18 years of experience in financial markets. Her specialization is in wealth creation through mutual funds, PMS, real estate, and goal-based finance planning. She is passionate about creating financial awareness among females. Welcome, Ms. Purvi Manish Dalal, on our show. Ms. Dalal, you have heard what earlier panelist Dr. Rajiv Anand, Ms. Radhika Pai, as well as Ms. Anu Jain has mentioned. Now, we want to know from you, because you are also you are a consultant, you are giving advice, and you are sitting in a city which is a diamond city, and which is one of the leading most city as far as the diamond is concerned, as well as for investment point of view, because Gujarat is always a leader in the present time as far as investment is concerned, and especially in the stock exchange. Uh, because Surat, Rajkot, that all that belt, Ahmedabad, Baroda, those they are investing money like anything. So we would like to know from you your views about the investment opportunity for women. Miss Purvi Manish Dalal, please.
Yes. Firstly, a very warm welcome to all my viewers out there. Myself, Purvi Manish Dalal. I did my MBA from Symbiosis Institute of Management in the year 2001. And I'm into this field for past 18 years now. And I'm running my own mutual fund distributory company called Strategies Prime Wealth here in Surat. And we have an experience of 18 years plus. And I cater to 1,500 plus retail clients who have started their investments from a small amount and have now built a large corpus with them. Again, I would like to thank Mr. Goel and Dr. Rajiv Anand for providing me with such a beautiful platform where I can talk about on the topic where I'm really passionate about, that is women financial empowerment. Because I always believe that today's world, we talk about women being, globally empowered. They are exploring newer fields. They are having higher educations. You are giving all the powers to women, and women are there on all the fields and the facets of life. But really, the question what really hinders me, or it points out, is the woman today also financially empowered? Is she in a position to take her own financial decisions? Does she have that financial freedom of her own? So that is the question which I always like to adhere to. Again, coming to the Global Economic Survey, it always said that for every 5 men, there were only 5 women who are also financially independent, or they have awareness about it. But when this point comes to India, and that also in the urban India, This ratio comes down to 8:2. So for every 8 men who are financially aware or take their financial decisions, there are only 2 females or less than 2 who are financially aware or they're capable of taking their own financial decisions. Again, looking at the women life expectancy part, a woman is supposed to live, like she lives longer than a man. So somewhere somewhere at the point of her life, she has to take her own financial decisions because she has a large corpus with her or a small amount. She has to invest where she can live independently or take her own decisions. So again, the point which I would always like to focus is that, yeah, we must, we as parents or we as educators for the next generation, we must focus on girls' financial awareness. She must be in a position to take her own decisions, and she must be capable of, taking her decisions in the right way. So now coming coming again to the topics, like what are the basic options available to a woman today? So apart from the regular topics which Anu Jain and Ms. Radhika Pai have already, explained, they being a banker, she being into the debt market, she is very beautifully explained that you have options like FDs, you have the PPFs, you have the Employees Provident Fund, again, the debt markets. I know these are the major common instruments which are available to a woman nowadays. But again, I would, according to any women, when she has to start her investment decision, she has to know what are the basic cash flows of her household. Maybe she might be a working woman or a household, but she has to understand what amount is she earning or what amount of money is coming into the house and what are her expenses. Apart from there, then she has to label those, what you call the surplus amount as savings. And from the savings, she has to go back and label them for her contingent or emergency funds. Like she has to put some amount apart for her medical expenses, as you rightly pointed out in the starting, because every female or a man of the house must plan for their medical expenses. Then apart from any investment bucket can be, classified into two baskets, like the financial assets and your non-financial assets. Your financial assets would be your direct exposure to equity, your mutual funds, your PPFs, your Employees Provident Fund, and now the new NPS, the new pension scheme which the government offers. And the non-financial assets would be of real estate, and your women's all-time favorite is the gold investment. I would like to more specify on the mutual fund part of the investments, which I'm dealing into it, like I'm specializing in it. See, mutual fund is basically is a corpus which is invested into equity markets, and that equity markets is managed by an qualified fund manager who earns you return on it. So I would always focus on mutual fund because apart from the regular traditional investment options available to a woman, a mutual fund is a better option looking into her age, her risk profile, and an asset allocation. Because mutual fund is a very good option for creating a wealth over a period of time. See, today, if a lady, if she's earning, or a young woman entrepreneur who is in her early 20, she's 25, 30 years of old, she has next 30 years of investment with her. She has 30 years of working. She has 30 years of income coming into her pocket. So she has an amount which she can regularly decide and invest in mutual funds. Mutual funds have various options, like it is an indirect way of giving exposure to equity markets. Whereas a layman or you being just working in some other field, you cannot have a complete knowledge about the financial equity market. You cannot go and directly buy, or you cannot time your investments into equity market. So for such investors, mutual fund is the right option. They must and they can start their investments in mutual fund because it is one of the best tools as on today for creating a wealth creation over a long period of time. Again, mutual funds are based upon your risk appetite. As you rightly said, higher the risk, higher is the risk, higher are the returns from it, and you have to give a long term to it. Mutual funds also are, their mutual investments look about, for a risk profile of a person, the age, the asset allocation, and their goal requirements for future. say today, if I am a working woman and I have my needs like my child's education, my child's marriage, but which, is a social obligation here in Gujarat. Other states, you might have been out of that syndrome, children have to, it's their responsibility to get married. But here being a social obligation, sometimes you have to, and get some amount collected for your children's marriage. So that can be on your agenda. It might be a dream vacation which you are aspiring for, or a dream house, or your retirement planning, anything. So all these goals can be achieved through a tool which a mutual fund has, that is called as the systematic investment plan. A systematic invest plan is nothing like, it is just like वो बोलते हैं ना कि बूंद बूंद से सागर भरता है, वैसे ही you have to invest a fixed amount at regular intervals into a mutual fund scheme, and that scheme has its own objectives. It might be an complete equity based scheme, or it might be a debt fund scheme, or it might be a hybrid scheme, or a balanced scheme which has a combination of both equity and the debt markets. So SIP is, of course, an very superb and a very broader instrument tool to cover your other risk allocations. Plus, it is a wealth creating tool, and it also maximizes your returns and minimizes the equity losses which you can face. Because if you are a direct equity trader in the market today, you might, sometimes you might get into a wrong tip decision, or you're not in that position to take your decisions on your own. But of course, an SIP with a proper financial advisor's advice can always lead to a proper wealth creation. Again, like Ms. Anu Jain pointed out, gold returns are, of course, investing in gold has been a very, has been the best option for women passed way back in, time when my grandmother used to be, or my mother used to be there. But what is happening, a gold investment today is just investing in gold, in just physical gold or jewelry is, it has a cost attached to it. So once you have physical amount of gold lying in your house, or jewelry, large amount of lying, you have to keep it either in the locker, which has a cost attached to it. So what we here as women, forget to see is, we might hold a large amount of gold, but again, we are paying that amount to hold that gold. Instead of having a large amount of physical gold, we can always go for options like ETF, sovereign bonds, which are offered by Government of India nowadays, and gold mutual funds. So the paper gold option for gold is a better option today. So I personally believe that instead of having a large amount of physical gold, you must go and discover or, explore such options for gold. And again, coming back to other points, like other speakers which have already pointed out, that yes, of course, a girl child must be rightly educated at the right age to take her own financial decisions. Today, what I am here and what I'm doing in my field is largely because of my parents way back in 80s, when I was pursuing my graduate degree in commerce. It was because of my dad and my mom, because they had this basic habit, of saving in regular traditional funds like those days KVP and NSC were the popular instruments where women used to save their hard-earned savings or annual savings for whatever. So again, talking to those times, it is like every woman has to keep her decisions updated. She has to take, she has to have awareness about the market conditions right now. And as Anu Jain already pointed out, yes, there is a lot of information available on the net. There is so much of data, so much of knowledge, YouTubes and various links available, where a person, even a lay woman, can find out what options are really available to her. So again, pointing out, I will be always there to help any of the women out there to have their mutual fund decisions taken. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Purvi Dalal. And Ms. Purvi Dalal, unlike others, is advocating about the mutual funds. Yeah. And she says that the mutual fund is the best option for the women especially, although it's for the men also, but for women, because here what she says is, because if you are investing in one stock, the risk is more. But in the mutual fund, because the person who is managing the mutual fund, that fund manager, see to it that which company he has to invest the money, or he or she, invest the money, and see to it that which company is doing. So they are doing all the work, technical work from the accounts point of view, from the analytical point of view, on day-to-day, hour 2-hour basis. While if you are investing money in a particular stock, you cannot think of that the stock 24 hours. You will be only for this. And she, according to her, even for the gold, she says it is better to invest in gold bonds or those sovereign bonds which the government of India has issued, instead of purchasing the physical gold, because physical gold you cannot keep at your home. You have to take a locker, and then there is a cost attached to it. Risk is there. So she is very clear. She says the mutual fund is the best option. Investment is required. Either you invest in mutual fund or invest in the bonds, gold bonds, etc. But you must do it. You must inculcate from the childhood the knowledge, the feelings, how the investment can be done. Although she has not agreed with my idea, which Ms. Annu Jain has also agreed about the wedding. That is a separate subject. I'm going to take that subject also very soon, where I would like to say that why the parents should be liable to spend money on the marriage of the children. Their liability should be up to the education. Thank you very much, Ms. Purvi Dalal, for giving good inputs. I'm sure the investors, the women investors especially, are enlightening today while listening all the experts. Now I'm going to ask Dr. Anand. Dr. Anand, you know one thing very clearly, as everybody says, and I also feel, that the financial tension is the worst tension in the life. Family tension and the financial tension. Because if suppose somebody is suffering from financial tension, then everything comes. Now, according to you, men or women, because once they are investing money, and as Ms. Annu Jain has mentioned, it's not like this. It was earlier that women are not taking risk. Now they are also taking risk. Who are more stable mentally for taking the financial risk? If suppose they lose the money, quite substantial amount of money in investment, we are talking of investment, financial investment, which she might have in the knowledge of the family or without the knowledge of family invested. Are they going to have more mental pressure, or they have that capacity to bear that pressure more than the man? Because as you mentioned, the man always comes to you with all the financial thing, or women hide those mental tensions, not coming to doctor or not going anywhere and taking on her own physically, the toll is taking her physically. Dr. Rajiv, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lal. Before I reply to your precise question, let me put on record the word of wisdom shared by all three speakers, Radhika, Anu, and Urvi, which is really very, very helpful. In fact, most women rarely ever sit down, even in their kitty circle, at whichever level it may be, in Surat or in Bombay, or even in a very high level talks. The investment part is rarely discussed, either because of decorum, that why I should keep it to someone's account, someone's assets, or why I should reveal mine, whatever I have. I wouldn't like anyone else to know. So we remain deprived of some very, very simple steps which could help us in long term. I'm using the word long term. Women have everything in their system for long term. Unfortunately, the men do not have many things in their system for long term. That's where they complement each other. That's where they supplement each other. That's where they strengthen each other. Men are in habit of spending money for the short term and enjoying and spending every bit and making whatever way they can make their life comfortable, whether gadgets or tour or whatever. Well, women would like to save for long term. And since women's mind work on multitasking, so they would like additional responsibility of exploring the share market or financial market, or going on the YouTube, or searching, or doing research. That may be little less priority in view of their many other responsibilities. I'm talking about an average woman, unless somebody is a professional in this field, when she has 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in a day. An average woman who has multiple responsibilities. I'm coming to the precise answer to Mr. Lal. Women always have uncertainty about the future. genetically programmed uncertainty about the future. Two major areas. One, the marriage, the emotional part of it, and second, the finances. What if, what if, the what if remain vague, what if remain unexplained, what if remain never disclosed, but it's always there in the back of the mind. So this is one big platform, courtesy Mr. Lal, we have to convey with emphasis to every woman whosoever and wheresoever one is listening. I heard something very good from, I think, Anu or Purvi, that from the age of 15 to 18 and 18 onwards to girls, which we did in our house with our daughter, with our son, with our daughter-in-law. We are doing it. Let them first learn baby steps as much as possible, and then they let them fly on their own, be it cycling, be it car driving, be it whatever. So women should learn to do it as early as possible, even if it is 500 rupees a month. Once they grow this habit, then they would begin liking it, loving it, to save it, which otherwise would have gone waste, many expenditure, which I also have done it in my age. I never bothered about saving money, which had I would have been much more comfortable than wherever I am. So women, let them do it. Fortunately now, on the phone, which every individual does have, and without naming any particular app, fortunately now there is a privileges when you can deposit even 500 rupees, even 100 rupees. And you can see your account growing. And you can see the value of what you have invested 2 weeks back or 2 months back, where it is now. You can see the PL and profit and loss. You can see the green or the red, and which is very helpful for women. Now, they may not get time, or they may not have that kind of priority to go on the research, but they can see, even if they pick up only 1 or 2 or 3 mutual funds. I'm not promoting any mutual fund, nor I'm a promoter of any financial scheme, but I'm saying something because I'm learning. As I learned from Radhika, she is in the pursuit of unlearning and learning new, which again, I'm also following her footsteps, unlearning a lot, which was garbage, what we thought that we were learning enough. And we made a mess and we made a fool of ourselves for the last 4 decades. Now we have to unlearn that, and we have to begin learning it. Then let there be some systematic plan for future. And this is what I'm recommending to all women across all boundaries. Let them have some money for their age 60 onwards or 55 onwards. Even if it is 500 rupees per month, let it be for their senior citizen age group. When they would be grandmother, when their husband would support them as best as possible if he would be around, when the children would support them as best as possible if they are around, and if they are lower children. Irrespective of that, let them have some money, because they have inherent capacity to invest their whole physical energy, the whole emotional energy, and their time in the family, to the husband, to the children. Whole life they have done it. And many of them have done it without much future planning. And when they reach their 50s, they undergo depression, that we never thought about ourselves. We gave so much out that now we are left with nothing. We feel lonely, we feel deprived, we feel uncared, we feel unloved, we feel unaccepted, we feel unnourished. Having learned lessons from thousands of them women like them, let's young women now begin becoming positively selfish. Begin becoming positively selfish. Invest for your 50s and 60s. Nothing wrong, nothing sinful. As you nowadays are learning to invest in your physical health, which is no less than financial health, that your body should be strong enough and fit enough and energetic enough and active enough so that you should have minimum sicknesses, hell with COVID, hell with Corona. Similarly, hell with any calamity, any financial problem, any demonetization, any reduction of income with your husband's regular income. If you have significant asset, you would have a smile like what Radhika has, what Purvi has, what Anu has. They all have been wise women. My initial opening comment to them was this: what they have invested is on their face. They are sitting on a comfort. They are not totally dependent on their husband. If something happened to him, then where we would be. They are not totally dependent on their children. Many of them, they don't have it. Even if they have it, they are settled somewhere else, or they have their own liability, their own responsibility, their own priorities. They may not have surplus fund to pass on to their mother or father. Why not in time? Be positively selfish. This is my very strongly conveyed message. Be positively selfish. Even if you save 100 rupees or 200 rupees, which on your mobile, on your app, you can see, मैंने इस महीने में 21 तारीख तक 100 रुपए करके 200 रुपए करके मैंने 1200 रुपए जमा किए, या मैंने इस महीने में, इस साल में, जनवरी से लेकर अब तक मैंने let's say 3600 रुपए जमा किए. Let me be happy with 3600 rupees. या मैंने पिछले साल में 2020 में, despite whatever time was there, I saved 12,000 rupees, 12,000 plus this. Now that would certainly gladden the heart, that would encourage. This privilege was not there during our mother's time of earlier time. It is there now. Let's make the best use of it. Over to you, Mr. Lal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand, for giving your views. Now my question goes to Ms. Radhika Pai. Ms. Radhika Pai, you are quite aware that at one time, old age in our country, grandmothers or great grandmothers, they also used to invest, but they invest only in gold. And they were very happy at that time. No tensions, nothing. And they always try to contribute that gold, give to gold, pass off to daughter-in-law or the daughter. And so that was their investment. And that's why even whatsoever they are getting is called, if for women, there is a istridhan, legal word in the legal terms. Now, time has changed. But still, if you see, now I want your opinion. In this COVID time, you have seen ups and downs, although stock exchange is booming. How it is booming, it's a debatable question. But gold is also going up. And if you see the time, even if you take somewhere in 80s, what was the gold price? 70s, what was the gold price? And what was the Sensex at that time in 80s? And what is the Sensex today? And similarly, you can see the Sensex gold. Okay. Now, don't you think for a woman, more stability, apart from investing, like Miss Anujan says, go for bonds. Miss Purvi is advocating for mutual fund. But as a conservative or an orthodox lady, why not invest also some money in gold, rest wherever our expert panelists are in. What you say about this, Miss Pai?
So coming down to what you asked me about, when I got married, it was, and I got two daughters, right? So it was ingrained in me. My mother said, "दो बेटियां हुई हैं, अब इनकी शादी के लिए तो करनी पड़ेगी तुझे." So I started learning to save in gold. So I used to buy a little gold, and like I said, जो biscuits और ये थे, you asked me what I did with it. No, I sold it in Dubai only, brought the cash here. So वो वगैरह risk नहीं लिया of bringing it here. Anyway, so the gold back in the days, it was because it was a mother's duty to give an X amount of gold to the daughter. I belong to a community called God Saraswat Brahman, and हमारे में तो है ही है कि 30 sovereigns or 50 sovereigns of gold is a must. It all depends on from where you come from. So this is something which was a norm. Why was this done? That's a very interesting thing what you asked me, that our grandmothers used to do this. देखिए पहले जमाने में क्या था, you need a carrot stick to dangle, right? बच्चे भी हमारे नहीं होते हैं. As you grow older, you become a liability. So ये अगर मिलेगा, everything is transactional. Whether you like it or not, life is transactional. We speak of unconditional love, but I've not seen it yet. It is transactional. So your children will probably look after you if they know they'll get something from you. And what was that something? Gold. What was that something? Property. Right? Back in the days. Purane zamane mein. Now coming down to today, I still have got some gold left over from what I had saved. Like I told you, I've invested in separate different things.
Miss Pai, you are on the television channel. Please be careful. Nowadays, departments are very, very much this thing. They always look who is having so much money, extra money, and the gold. Please go ahead. On a lighter vein. Yes.
Abiding citizens.
Yes.
Like I said, we've always separated all that we've got. So coming down to gold, why was that gold done back in the days? Because it was easily exchangeable. आपने gold लिया, you went and gave it off to the goldsmith, पैसे मिल गए. या तो आपने गिरवी रखी, पैसे मिल गए. It was an easy way of doing it, which is why women felt gold was better. And today, of course, it's gone up. I don't think people of my generation also still know how to invest differently.
Okay.
We still think it's a man's job.
Okay.
Now
Thank.
it's nice
Yes.
that I'm hearing from Purvi and Anu that more women are coming into it. It's nice. It's nice.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pai. And I would like to just add one thing. As far as the gold is concerned, it's also demographically. Like in North India, the general feeling is that whatsoever gold has been come to your house, it should not be mortgaged or sold.
Yes.
While in South, it is quite common. And that's why if you see the gold loan schemes generated or originated from South side, here people put the gold and then purchase again or take it back. So that is a very common thing here in South. But in North, they says if you have purchased even one coin, that coin should always be with your family. So that is why this gold thing is a different thing in demographically in even India. But yes, you are right that gold initially. So in one way, now my question goes to Miss Annu Jain. Miss Annu Jain, one way we can very well say that the older times, the women were more intelligent as far as the investment is concerned. They used to invest in gold. They used to invest in property. And like Miss Radhika has very rightly said, that the children used to take care of the parents because they expect that the gold and the property will come. While today, the situation is, as you have mentioned, now you are that women are taking risk. You might have heard, you are in the field, IL and FS crisis. Now I am talking of bond. How if women knows the company like ILFS can crash? What happened to those investment? Now, if a woman invest her saving in a bond of any company, the company ILFS was a very reputed company. All the mutual funds have invested so heavily. Approximately 2,700 crores bonds were issued at that time. So how the one can cover the risk? My question is not that what has happened to ILFS. That is not the question. The question is, as a woman investor who is having whatsoever anybody will say, they have a limited savings. They are having not like Dr. Rajiv Anand had mentioned that men can put the money without thinking. If he is having 100 rupees today, he may invest 100 rupees. But women always put 30 rupees or whatsoever the savings. But if such types of companies will take on ride, what will be the fate? So how the women should take care not to invest in such type of companies, or what are the precautions? Miss Annu Jain, please.
Well, that's a very valid question. कोई भी investment में zero risk नहीं होता है. So if you want the absolute safe return, then obviously Government of India securities, which is called GSET, which gives about 6%, is what is basically the only norm left. Whether it is bonds, whether it is equities, you've had in equities a case like Satyam, which went belly up some years ago. You've had ILFS, you've had other bonds being written off last year, 2 years back, we had the bond crisis in India. Every 2-3 years, some mid-cap companies goes bust. So this is a regular part and parcel of the economy. Now, the best way to mitigate is that either you, instead of buying individual stocks, you should buy an ETF, whether it is on the stock side, as I was saying, that आपके पास Nifty का ETF है, आपके पास Bank Nifty का ETF है. On the bonds also, you have bond funds, like you have mutual fund, which Puli was talking about. You have bond funds where they have a basket of, bonds in it. You may have a particular bond, and a lot of bonds, a lot of companies had the ILFS bond. But अगर वो 2 से 3% है, तो आपका it has just taken away returns for 3 months or 4 months. It did not hurt your capital. So as you had earlier said also, diversification is the most appropriate form of controlling risk. And believe we can only control risk. We cannot avoid it because you are sitting in a marketplace. So controlling risk is only by diversification. So whether you're doing equity stocks or whether you're doing bond market, a diversified fund or a diversified ETF is the best way. ETF stands for exchange traded fund. I think that's the only way you can kind of control it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Jain. Now, my question goes to Ms. Dalal. Ms. Dalal, you have mentioned about the mutual funds.
Yes.
Now, we have seen in the mutual funds, like even this ILF has many mutual funds lost heavy amount in spite of their well-researched things and whatnot. And you are also advocating about the gold bond versus gold.
Okay.
Now, today, we never expected this COVID to come like this. And job lost, pay cuts, no money. And if suppose someone has invested in gold bonds in 2019, I think there is a condition that 5 years you cannot sell that
Yes,
and cash it.
of course.
So she's stuck. And 5 years is nowadays COVID, you know that every family or every 10 out of one family is suffering from COVID. In this, when the crisis is there, from there they will get the money. So why? And the gold, the advantage is whatsoever it is, it's a liquid cash immediately. Yes, unless you have put some diamonds in that, then the value would have come down. But if it is in the form of gold jewelry, in the gold forms or coins or something which are illegal, you can very well liquidate it. So how you will convince a woman investor that so that in case of crisis, whenever, because nobody knows this COVID, nobody was knowing that the crisis may come like this. So what is your take, how the woman should invest money to see that tomorrow, if the crisis comes, unprecedented crisis, unforeseen crisis, they will not be in soup? Ms. Purvi Dalal, please.
Okay, so again, this is like coming back to the principles of investment. You know, today I'm talking about physical gold. It has to be a part of your basket of investment, but it has not to be over and above that. A given percentage in your investment. Way back when your grandmothers, your mothers invested in gold, it was basically, as you said rightly, it was a contingent fund, emergency fund. Kuch problem aa gaya, sona becha, and problem gets solved. But again, that gold investments are just creating savings for you. They're not creating a wealth over a period of time. So you have to look for a wealth creating option over a period of time. See, it goes like to this. Way back in 80s or 80s, you had for communication pagers the aapke paas. You, of course, gradually went on to mobile, cellular phones today, and today you have smartphones, So that the way you technologically change yourself from that point to this point, even a gold investment is just a traditional instrument. So you have to look broader. You have to go beyond the traditional investments and make your investment broader and smarter. They have to work for you. See, investing in broader and smarter instruments is like you are buying a day where you don't have to work. The famous Warren Buffett, I would like to unquote him, that if you don't find a way, if you don't find a way how your money will work for you while you sleep, you will always have to work till you die. So I will always not advocate, but I would always advise, you have to look beyond your gold investments. Gold has to be a part of your investment, but not completely. So you have to look for different options, such as mutual funds. Again, coming to mutual funds again runs into the original concept. You are investing in the equity, and equity is like investing in somebody else's business. So today, if you are investing in only in a bank FD or a safety risk guaranteed return investment option, you are only beating inflation. Like today, if you are investing 100, after a year you might get 107. Which is not even beating your inflation. So inflation is just like वो जो महंगाई का दर बोलते हैं. I know even a common women can understand कि आज ये जो चीज 100 रुपए में आती है, with the inflation rate today, next year it is going to cost you much higher. So you have to have that investment option in your mind that you have to create a wealth over a period of time. Of course, savings will always be taken care of. So that you have to think according to your appetite, your risk appetite, your asset allocation, as I earlier also mentioned, and your goals. And then you have to accordingly decide. And for this, I would always advise you must, if you're investing in mutual funds, you must have a financial advisor, a proper financial AMFI certified advisor to guide you, to reallocate your assets, to guide you time to time, to even reshuffle your portfolios. If you are knowledgeable and if you are having that knowledge, it is well and fine. You have all the options today. You can go on to the net. You have your phone or banking, your phone mutual fund buying apps where you can directly buy mutual funds. Everything can be done. But if you're not aware, or if you don't have that time to do that, you must always consult a proper financial analyst or an advisor who can do it for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Dalal. Now my question goes to Ms. Jain, Ms. Annu Jain. Sorry, Dr. Anna, I think we have two experts, so I want that they should give more. Today, the craze is of venture capital. The time has come when the venture capitalists are investing lots of money in startups. What are your views? The women should also invest in the venture capitals which are prevailing, because the venture capitals are investing very heavily in all the startups. Although there is a figure that this is 90% of the startup fails, but still the venture capitals are making money with the balance 10%. So will you advise the women to invest in venture capital?
So venture capital or private equity, as we call it, is a very sophisticated tool, and for a very sophisticated investor. It's not for someone who is at. It's like आप calculus first standard में introduce नहीं करते. It's the same concept. Okay. While it's a very good means of making money, and given that technology all over the world is kind of the buzzword right now. If you look at stocks like Tesla or Airbnb, or closer home, we had Nazara listing, which is a gaming stock, or you have Naukri.com. These are companies which can change the way. So as we were saying, you work from a pager to now a smartphone. We are going into 5G, and we are going to, in the next 20 years, life's going to change for us in ways which we've not imagined before. So tech is the buzzword, and private equity and unicorns are listing every day. But I don't think it is a one person. I have been in the markets for 20 years. If I do an investment into private equity, I prefer to go through a route of a basket of private equity in an AIF. Most of the private equity investments are done through the AIF routes. AIF is a very sophisticated tool for people who can invest over a crore. So I wouldn't advise it for a novice, whether it is a man or a woman, nothing to do with the sex. But I think that's a very sophisticated tool, can make a lot of money. But as you yourself said, out of 10 units which start, there is early level, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. You have to have a team which does that for you, because there the analysis is very different from buying a stock or buying a bond. Very, very important. Yes, if you have money, I think at least 5 to 10% of your money should, if you're a sophisticated investor, go into it, but not yourself. You need a team to do that for you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jain. I asked this question particularly to you because you said now the women are also taking risk, and I'm sure they are very sophisticated investor. They generally, women are very sophisticated. Thank you very much, Ms. Jain, for enlightening us. And it's a really a good thing to know. Now, my last question goes to Ms. Purvi Dalal. Ms. Purvi Dalal, kitty party. Everybody talks about kitty party. And they says that kitty party is nothing but it's a saving money or a committee. Somewhere the terminology is committee. Don't you think that is also, and it's especially for the women, which nowadays this generation people are doing, the girls are, the ladies are involved in kitty party. What you say about that?
Yeah, kitty party is again a very personal kind of thing, but I being a woman, I love going to kitty parties, having fun myself. But kitty party is entertainment come in savings, but it is not entertainment and investments. Again, coming to the point, it is not wealth creation. You are not creating a wealth for you. You're not creating a wealth for your future. You're not planning for your future retirement, your other future needs, your medical expenses. That is apart. So I feel you can't mix up two things. If you have entertainment, then you're okay. You can go to a kitty party and invest for your entertainment thing. But you can't secure your future, or you can't create a wealth over a period of time going to kitty parties.
Okay.
Thank I would also like to advise one thing. It's like, always have this punchline in my mind, it is like, you have to invest as if you're going to live forever, and you have to live as if you're going to die tomorrow.
Okay.
So you have to invest as if you're going to live forever.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Dalal. So today you have seen that the experts, they have given their opinion how the women can invest, and there are lots of opportunities, investment opportunities for women, and they are given the advice, and their advice is one: diversification. You must not put money in one investment. You must take advice, consultant, talk to the consultant, as we take advice for the doctors or advocates or the chartered accountants. Financial advisors, consultants are available. Don't think that you are smart enough to put your money, and then afterwards when you will lose, then you have to go to a doctor like Dr. Rajiv. Try not to go for that. And there are lots and plenty of opportunities for women. And as Ms. Annu Jain has mentioned, the women are now risk taking. They have a risk taking capacity. They are taking risk, and they are ready to invest money. But please consult before investing money. Consult your family, but before that, consult an expert, which is very much required. And the opportunities are there. And we know that in this COVID time, only those are sustaining, they have savings or they have invested, they have investment has earned money. Now right now is the time that if they have lost the jobs, or they can sustain themselves. So the savings and investment both are very important. But how to invest, you require an expert, which we have seen that today experts opinions. You can consult whosoever is in your city, in your district, who you feel they are good. But please don't do at one place only. It should be in a basket of investment. Thank you very much, all the speakers, all the guests. And today's program, which has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, as well as was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you everyday new topic. And tomorrow our topic is role of youth in Skill India. And our chief guest is Professor Dr. M. Shantaram Shetty, MS Ortho, FICS Ortho, FIAMS, FRCS. He is Pro-Chancellor, Nitte University, Nitte, and Chairman Tejaswini Hostel Group, Mangalore. And along with 7 youths who are going to interact with him, and he will be explaining the role of youth in Skill India. So please do join media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 and tomorrow. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Thank you very much, Ms. Radhika Pai. Thank you very much, Ms. Annu Jain. Thank you very much, Ms. Purvi Dalal, for giving so much encouraging and enlightening the women. And as Dr. Rajiv Anand has said, the women are more intelligent than men. Thank you very much, and thank you all the viewers. After all, I have to also go to my house, so I have to speak like this. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.